welcome everybody to another live recording of the Business Travel 360 Linking the Travel Industry podcast, where we discuss travel industry news you are talking about on LinkedIn. My name is Rian and I'm one of your hosts today. I'm a co-founder at Agentivity, where we do some very clever things with the booking data flowing through a TMC. If that sounds of interest, if you want to talk to somebody with some experience on data, please get in touch. As usual, I'm joined by Ash and Anne to help me discuss our list of stories. So over to you, Anne.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Anne. I'm an independent consultant with LeapShift. Happy to help you with anything related to the questions you may have on NDC, One Order, airline retailing. Over to you, Ash.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ash, and I'm the host of a weekly business travel podcast called What's Up in Business Travel, where we give you only the important updates in under 15 minutes. Additionally, I'm the vice president at Traxo, and this is Linking the Travel Industry.
Now, Ash, before we go further, I'm going to disrupt the flow a little bit and just ask you the question. What's the difference between that podcast that you just mentioned and this podcast?
This podcast gets into a lot of the opinionated views that we all have on the story on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And What's Up in Business Travel is just purely a news update.
Okay. This one, however, is full of opinions, as you will find out, because the format of this discussion is a quick, very importantly non-biased and spontaneous review of the previous week's top LinkedIn travel industry stories, and it's the only one of its kind on the internet relating to the travel industry. And thank you for giving us your time today. Also, we do love hearing from you during the event, so if you have a comment, please share that comment with us right here, and we can bring it on the screen. You'll see your name in the comment on the screen, so be aware that's going to happen. So, stories that caught our attention, week 33 on LinkedIn. The first story, interesting development by Air France KLM. They've introduced what is called a short connection pass service at Paris Charles de Gaulle, and this enables their customers in transit at the airport with a short connection to benefit from a different type of service, a bit of a fast track, and it's just triggered automatically. And as the image is suggesting, it probably comes through on the app with some sort of QR code they can scan and say, I'm in a hurry, I need to get through to my next connection. So I love this. And my only question I have is, why only now? Why is it taking till 2025? Or is it just me thinking that?
It's me thinking that as well. But of course, I love it. This is exactly what customers are looking for. And the frustration, I was just going to say, my God, please, Austrian Airlines, with your transit times when you struggle to get through from Schengen to non-Schengen. And you could actually imagine you can use this proactively as well, couldn't you? I mean, you're late in your incoming flight and you could actually trigger this for passengers so they can just flow through. I see so much potential.
Actually, you're probably going to tell us this happens already in the States, right?
I think this is a data grab.
In what sense?
Well, the passing of information from Air France KLM to this airport group and to share with them inbound information and who's coming in, who's leaving. There's a lot of information that's being shared.
They share that anyway. I would imagine they do that anyway. But I mean, how does that differ then in the States? I mean, surely the airport is the operator then told about this, or does it work differently?
Well, I mean, in the States, we have different ranges of services, right? You have the TSA pre-check service, which helps you move across the lines much quicker. And then you have independent companies like Clear, who also support that process.
I think we're getting some comments there as well. Why only Paris Charles de Gaulle? Why can we be doing this as a group? Why not just go to more airports? Phil, as usual, thank you for your contribution there and listening in. He's saying that Frankfurt Airport has something available for everyone called Smart Way. That sounds more like this thing in the States, right? Actually, I haven't thought about the data sharing aspect of it, and I should do as a data person. I do think that's an interesting angle. Another interesting airline-related development, but this post I saw was about Qantas. They will now show you in their app a very detailed information about the aircraft you're going to be flying on. And that includes things like the power services that are available at your seat, whether it's a USB-A, USB-C, that type of socket, etc. I saw this in a post by Michael Maloney. He works at Qantas, digital product at Qantas. And the post got a lot of interaction and interest. Is this such a big deal? Ash, do you want this?
It's a big deal if you don't have it. This is nothing new. This is nothing amazing. I'm imagining they're using some service. I mean, ATP Code does this very, very well. And they've been providing this information for a very long time to the travel agency community. To answer your question, yes, I do want a lot of this information. I want to know what plane type it is, because if it's a 737 MAX, I am not flying it. The second thing I want to know is there Wi-Fi? That's always nice to have. The 3-3 seat layout, I mean, it's nice. I would imagine you can kind of figure that out when you look at the seat map. And then some of the information like snacks provided is a little cookie symbol there. I'm not really sure if cookie qualifies as a snack, but okay, we'll take it. So there's a little cleanup job that's required here. It's nothing that is, oh, wow, look at how amazing we are. We now are able to tell our customers what plane they're flying and whether they're going to have a cookie or not. I mean, that's kind of yesterday's news. But I guess you got to start somewhere, and better late than never.
Yeah. And what do you think?
We do notice a more focus on customer centricity, right? That's really good because we haven't seen that much of it in the past. So any progress here is fantastic.
I just love how we've lowered the bar so far down. And then all of a sudden somebody puts a little, oh, we have cookies. And we get, oh my God, this is amazing. I don't know. This stuff's been available for so long. And Concur does it, then everybody should have done it by now. I mean, that's like the last frontier.
Did you notice Sean Woodbridge's post about his mobile boarding pass yesterday on LinkedIn? That was hilarious. If you haven't seen that, you gotta take a look.
Yeah, okay, we'll do.
Is the idea very similar to this?
The bar is even lower. It's rock bottom there.
Okay, we've had some more comments of people joining us, I think for the first time. I'm happy to see Gladwell there. Gladwell is from ISATA, Association of Eastern and Southern African Travel Agents, listening in from Nairobi. Nice to hear from you. Now, speaking of low bars, Robert Kiernan from Travel Counselors, he posts quite a lot on LinkedIn, and he posts around name changes and the struggles he's having with name changes and getting those done. Got a lot of questions and attention and updates and so on. And so he's just very frustrated with this experience, and he's asking the question, why is this an issue in 2025 on air bookings to be struggling with name changes? So on this one, to tell us why, I'm going to come to Anne.
It's quite interesting. I mean, did you see that Amadeus has a limitation of 57 characters for the name, which is also fascinating. And I guess the problem that we have here is that if you're on GDS, right, you either, I think the technology works this way that either you allow it, or then you have the restrictions. And the restrictions, I believe, is like 3 characters can be changed. But we have to find a way to deal with this, because it should be that you should be able to freely go to the airline and change. And like he very rightly says, this is not an issue for LCCs, right?
But, well, you say that. There was a very valid argument there. Yeah. So what if agents use this to hold a fare for Mr. A traveler at a good, apex purchase?
Right.
And then sell it to us, one day before trip and just make the name change.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that it has to be controlled and restricted by the airline itself, but it should be doable. I've got a horrible story, personal story about this. A friend of mine who was traveling on a European airline. And I happened to have contacts and ended up with the CTO of the airline actually performing the name change for the daughter of my friend. I had to go to that kind of length to do this. But I mean, it's crazy. We have to find a better way to approach this. And you have to be able to freely sort of move between those, commercial constraints. Do you agree?
I do, absolutely. I mean, again, focus on the customer, right? What's the customer requirements here? But let's hear what Asha's got to say about this.
I think this is just a way for them to keep the revenue coming in intact. Somebody is playing the short game as opposed to the long game. To your earlier comment, Rian, about, what prevents somebody from doing a name change a day before. So what if they do a name change the day before? Yeah. What are we trying to prevent? Somebody taking advantage with getting a low fare and then changing it? I mean, the itinerary has to be perfect. If it's a security issue, well, it's no different than somebody buying a ticket last minute anyway. So I don't know what we're solving by keeping this limitation in place. And to the character comment, I mean, it's not just about number of characters. I think it's also about the type of characters as well. There's such a limitation on these things. You can't have certain characters in the name, which is obviously really important for that individual because that's their name. So these kind of limitations in the agency, I mean, this goes back to we're getting excited about the fact that you're telling me what plane it is. It goes back to the comment about, oh, you're letting me move across the airport a little faster.
Yes.
I mean, this is all kind of these old traditional prevention mechanisms in the industry that's kept this thing slow for so long, and it keeps going.
There's a comment there from Stefan about the fact that you could limit this to the agency X number of changes per year, maybe. Well,
but why?
To answer your question, Ashi, about the why, you will get agents who will go and buy 100 tickets on that flight at a low fare and then sell them later on at higher cost. There's an administration and cost burden then on the airline to deal with all of those changes. That's why.
But if an agency does that, then you know it's coming from a single agency. You put that agency under notice and you shut them down. This is the exception mentality, right?
Yes.
For the sake of one or two people, let's make everybody else miserable.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's again Stefan saying that does happen.
But if you're an airline and you have an agency that does this, you probably already know who these people are. Suspend the plate. Move on.
This is the moment where we just turn to the audience and say thank you for giving us your time. We're not done. We've got 3 more stories to follow and a few extras maybe. So just saying thank you, especially for all the comments. We really like it. It's fantastic to see, and you're more than welcome to keep doing those. You can also call us, as I said there, if you want to try that. But just saying thank you to the audience for giving us your time on a Monday. If you enjoyed this event, please tell your colleagues and get more people involved. This is also the point where we encourage you to make a comment and tell us where you're listening from. The sort of ultimate purpose of linking the travel industry, the clues in the name, is to link as many of us as possible. So if you give a comment and your name appears, you might get some connection requests. So that's really the point. So please go ahead and tell us where you are listening from. We would love to hear. So back to the list of stories. We now have these categories of most engaged and the one that got away. So the most engaged post is one of a series by Felix Daniger. He's mulling about the future of Sabre in his post. He's got 3 or 4 scenarios for them, which is painting out in various posts. And the specific one that I was referring to was where, he was talking about the merger potentially between, or should Sabre consider merging with Travelport. He's also proposed, should they consider a buyout by an airline? Ash, what did you make of this?
I mean, as far as the story itself is concerned that Felix wrote about, should Sabre consider a merger with Travelport, I would say no. That would be a bad move on Sabre's part. I think Sabre has enough in the arsenal to be able to recover and make a positive move. It will require somebody that actually understands the industry and understands Sabre and may have been around in Sabre for a long time. Keep in mind that Sabre has divested from a lot of their potential moneymakers. I mean, they got rid of their corporate booking tool. They got rid of their hospitality line. To circle back to Felix's post, I do not think that Sabre should merge with Travelport. I don't think that 2 wrongs make a right, as I put on that post. And something like that would be devastating. I think it will sink Travelport even faster, because I think that the effort that would require would be too much for even Travelport to handle. I mean, this is definitely not something that should be entertained in any way or form. I think Sabre can probably and hopefully is working hard to make a comeback. And
what are your comments?
I'm also with you. I agree with a lot of what Ash said. I also agree with you that I don't like the post. It's interesting to speculate, and I saw that there is another one today about reverse acquisition, bringing Axilia into the mix here. Like I commented on the post, I think that there could possibly be some acquisition here. To me, it signals that in many ways. But, I think I commented on the post and said that a Sabre could become everything that Amadeus is not. That could be extremely interesting. Let's say that Sabre becomes open, easy to integrate with, not trying to have the whole cake of it. It just couldn't be more interesting than that. As for a merger with Travelport, no. I'm completely with Ash. Would be a terrible move.
Come back to my point. I don't like these posts. I mean, Felix is suggesting that it's his job to speculate and advise. As we've pointed out before, the bar is very low in our industry at the moment. So for Sabre to be the opposite of Amadeus and do stuff that's open and progressive, that's not going to be a major challenge. It's going to just need the right leadership, right?
Yes.
if the situation is so bad, that's the time to make a quantum leap in the industry.
Yeah.
Because it can't get worse. I mean, you're not protecting anything anymore. You're just simply holding on for dear life. So why not do something and go out with a bang? If you're going to go out with a bang and do something in the industry that would shock everybody, get the momentum back on your side, and give you the ability to move forward. And I can think of a bunch of things that they would do.
The bar is a lot
which would totally put them in the driver's seat. But do they have the, as we say, the kahunas to do that or not?
Yes.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And just to put things in context, the reason I didn't mention this, the reason why Felix is posting about this is because of the fact that in the recent, we talked about this last week, in a recent announcement of, financial results, Sabre did reveal that their targets fell a bit short and their share price as a result plummeted by 40%. And as a result now, there's all these speculative posts about what they should be doing. I see there's some further comments, Global, about the name change. I'm not going to bring those up, but again, thank you for making those comments. Before we go on to the one that got away, I want to go back to a story we covered last week, which was the airport Gaya, that initially the Indian authorities did not want to assign it the three-letter airport GAY, but it has now decided that it can do so. They've clearly listened to our show, Anne, and they've said, sure, you can do it. So they've kept the three-letter code, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's such a beautiful word, gay. I mean, come on. It's just like, it makes me happy.
And just out of interest, if you ask artificial intelligence to create you an image with a flight board, notice that it has the cheek to make one of the flight numbers AI, which is interesting. So there we go. And then a post that did get away, in my opinion, really, this should have covered more attention. And this is a post by a guy called Riaz, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his surname Ahmed, but I've got his name on the screen there, Riaz Ahmed. He posted about the complexities, the hidden complexities of cross-border corporate travel payments in Asia-Pacific. It is a post well worth reading. It goes into a lot of detail with regards to challenges that they face and issues that they have and things that you might have never thought of considering in their processes. So it is a fantastic post, and it didn't get the attention it deserved. That's why I put it in this category, the one that got away. Ash, do you agree with me? It deserves this category?
I think so. And I think everybody listening to the show and later on in the podcast should find this article and like it, or you can give it some push in the industry. Very few times do we have somebody that actually goes out of their way. And as you mentioned, he did put a lot of effort behind this post. I think it's definitely worth the read, and we should encourage this kind of conversation.
Yeah. And Anne, was there anything in there that raised even your eyebrows?
Absolutely. It's highly educational. And I also reached out to him and thanked him for a fantastic post, because like Ash says, it's not that common that we see, really, really good explanations. There was stuff in there that I had no idea about. Very, very good.
So Riaz, shout out to you from all three of us for a great post. Thank you so much, Riaz, for doing that. So those were the list of stories on my list. We normally at this point ask if there's any extra stories. I think, Ash, you might have an extra story or two for us this week, right?
One of the big things in the industry right now is the Air Canada strikes that are happening. Obviously, a lot of cancellations have occurred and impacting thousands of passengers worldwide. The government of Canada has tried to intervene, but the Flight Attendants Association has said that no amount of intervention will get us back on the table unless you meet our demands. So it's a pretty hard line. The other thing that's happening is Spirit Airlines is in the news again. They are about to run out of money very soon, as we expected. And we've talked about that on the show for a number of times this year. And we have talked about power banks on the show quite a bit. So Emirates is in the news about this, and they have said that they will be banning in-flight power banks effective October of this year. More and more airlines are getting on the power bank conversation, and I have a list of airlines that have made comments about power banks to keep people updated if they want to check that out on businesstravel360.com.
It's great to bring that back into the spotlight because, we talked about it a lot earlier this year and it sort of faded out of memory. The Emirates ban, is it entirely on power banks? None at all on the flight?
No, every airline kind of has a little bit of a nuance to how they want to operate. But in the case of Emirates, they're saying that you can still carry a power bank. It has to be under 100 watts. So there's a little limitation on how strong of a power bank you can carry. And you're not allowed to use the aircraft's power supply to charge power bank.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to police that. They'll save themselves a lot of hassle by just saying not allowed at all.
For me, it's purely safety. You can't afford for something to go wrong.
No, absolutely. I see Roland is also commenting there to say not carrying those. I think we all agree. So I do think that is a wrap for this week. It brings our show today to an end. So thank you again for all those who commented. We love that. That's fantastic. We had many comments today. For those giving us your time and just listening in as well, we appreciate that. Shout out to Susan, who said she was late. No worries, Susan. You can listen to the podcast afterwards, which Ash will tell you about. So thank you so much. Over to you, Anne.
Thanks, everyone. We are so super impressed with all your comments. And I can't help but cracking up at Susan from Sydney, right? I'm late. Oh, my God. What time is it in Sydney? That's really impressive. Thanks, everyone. Over to you, Ash.
Well, Susan comes in late, I come in early. So that's how it works around here. So thank you all for joining today's live recording of Linking the Travel Industry. We record this podcast live every week on Monday, and we ask that you share this event with those that you know. Chances are high that if you enjoyed today's session, those that you know will as well. If you miss a show because of time zone or availability, you can check out the podcast on businesstravel360.com. This is Linking the Travel Industry, signing off.